furry booties, boils and ghouls. Welcome to my I'm cooler than you class. No, I'm kidding. This is Characterization 101 in the Belagarth worlds. The last class I taught today, I made it very clear that I believe this is a sport. Everything you're about to see does not take away from that an iota. This is a sport. However, I really like a different side of it, which is the characterization. So, are there any rules written in our book about it? No. Does it give you any, points on the battlefield? No. Have I killed somebody with a bang? Abso-fucking-lutely. So what is characterization? Well, characterization is how you go from, hi everybody, my name's Cord. I've been playing Belagarth for a while, and to this, right? It's changing who you are to play your character a little bit better. Why? Because technically, we are a lark. Alive, an action. I'm alive. I like action. I don't know so much if I roll, but I definitely like to play, right? Okay, I roll. So I roll, I did. Good job. I don't roll, I somersaulted. So this is live action somersaulting play. There's a whole slew of reasons why I think it matters, but today we're going to talk about really the basic fundamentals of it. First of all, the most important part is consent. I could be as goofy of a monster as I want to be, and I am all the time, but there are things I don't do because I need someone else's consent to roleplay with them. If I'm a goblin and I'm going to run around and rip people's ears off, I need to probably ask them if it's okay before I do that. Not during. I love myself. And definitely not after, right? Things like that matter. And the reason I start this whole class with that is because I think that characterization is what makes our game awesome. I think characterization is what makes our sport different. Look at Banana Ball. Right? If you look at what they've turned baseball into with that, that's a total game. But what they're doing is massively athletic. Right? If you look at mascots, I have experience being a mascot, what they're doing is goofy, but it's extremely athletic. And what we're doing, if you remove some of the kit out of it, is just aggressive stick tag. And if you look over at Worm, which you don't see him in the video, you can turn if you want to. He's wearing a jersey. This is a sport. Capiche? Okay.
Turned at the perfect time to get the angle on it.
So, this is what makes our sport a little bit more unique and fun. So once you acknowledge to yourself, okay, I want to play this character, I want to learn how to play my character a little more, and I know that if I want to play my character in a setting around other people, I need to either make sure it's not something that's going to cause problems, or get consent of the people I'm around before I do things that may cause people to go, what the fuck? Like, if I'm gonna run around and, shove my fist in my mouth to pretend to be a frog, well, maybe I should let people know I'm gonna do that. Now, I say that, and then the goblin and he says, no, sneak up behind him and do woo! It's your own body. But just be really conscious of that. With characterization, take who you are, turn it to 11. I caution you when I say that because maybe you have challenges. Maybe you don't like who you are. So take your character and turn it to 11 in the mirror, at home, in your own space, so you can learn how you move. When you're doing characterization, it's broken into a couple different sections. I don't have notes for this class, so we're just doing it live, so we'll see how it goes. But the first big one is your voice. So if I'm talking like this is probably a pretty boring class. Thank you all so very much for coming. I appreciate your attendance. Oh my God, characterization is so cool. My name is Cord, and I'm a witch doctor, and that's boring as shit. Nobody wants to, huh?
I was pretty entertained.
Okay, Stickless, Stick Moranis, Stick-a-magoo. Right now you're a
Cinnamon
Stick-a-magoo.
sticks.
There we go. So, you can change the voice. So that too. Hi everybody, my name is Cord, and I like roleplay and being goofy, and I also think that sword fighting is fun. Okay, so that's voice. You guys see a difference there between the two voices?
Yeah, one
Does that
was
make
Brew,
sense?
one wasn't.
One was good and one wasn't.
Well, I said one was Brew.
One was Tonight, we are going to steal the moon. Okay, so you can change just the voice. Hi everybody, my name's Cord. That's the voice. Hey everybody, my name is Cord, and I am here to eat your elfin ears. Eridan's over there. Did you know that if you fillet them, they make excellent snacks? Okay, so now, what did I do? I made Chip laugh, success. So how did I do that? I did that by changing the level, changing the shape of my body, and having a little bit more expression. Hi everybody, my name is Cord, and I'm here to tell you that I've done a good job because I've scared a little child. You see the difference? Now I've incorporated voice, I've incorporated movement, and I've incorporated hand gestures and level changes and everything. I also feel like a dick. Sorry, little picnic. There is one more level. This is very specific. So everything I have told you right now is not monster specific. I'm a goblin. Cover my elbows and my knees. Got goblin shit. It's easy. You talk to me, you know I'm a goblin. Everything I have just talked about can apply if you're a ranger of Numenor. How? I'm a ranger of Numenor. I'm gonna pretend that I'm Sir Bogan the Builder. I'm Sir Bogan the Builder. I like to build things and I'm a better medic than you. You should stop having stupid archery check. Blah, 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 blah. My name is Sir Bogan the Builder. I am a knight of Numenor and I'm here to free the weak and give justice to the strong. Wait, that's not how that works. You see that I can do those same things if I'm not playing a monster character. I'm going to send this to Bogan. I'm so excited. Bogan, I love you. Bogan has an alt character named Bogart. This is a Bogart, which is great. I don't know if that's a word I should use anymore. Anywho, Bogan's a Bogan. Bogan's great. If you meet Bogan, say hi to him for me. This is going to go on YouTube, so Bogan's going to get to see all this. Now, if you're a monster, there's one other layer, but Styx, as someone who is a ranger, you see how all of those things can apply to your ranger character? Not that you're going to ever do any characterization, but that doesn't matter.
Because I am ranger.
Conceptually, you are ranger. And how you present yourself, you want to be a Viking, you want to be a samurai, you want to be a merchant, how you move, how you speak, and how you articulate creates your character. If you're a monster, hi. Break the physical movement that is human. An example. When I'm in goblin mode, I oftentimes do this. Is this good posture? No! No! Do I hurt for it? Sometimes. Right? So having good posture is good. But if I want to be a scared creature, I'm going to do a little bit of this. Now, when I'm embracing Nebuchadnezzar, the great goblin king of Mizar, I don't do that. Because he knows that he's better than everybody else here. So he's going to stand a little straighter. But I'm still going to try and make how I appear non-human. Plague, can you please be an example for me for a second? Could you please show me Alex walking?
Yes.
Thank you. Can you come back? Can you please show me Kdroog Plagoo walking? Do you see the difference? It's like, okay, come on, stay. I love you. So, do you see that though? Do you see the difference in movement and walking? So now imagine you're drunk, or not, at a bell event at nighttime. Someone's walking by like this. Someone else is walking by like this. Your reaction is probably going to be, that's the goal. So with characterization, you want to transform yourself away from yourself. I'm weird, I don't roleplay, I just am. This is how I am. You're going to find a lot of the best monsters don't really roleplay. This is just how we are. That is an unfair, non-duplicatable hack. You don't have to do that to be good at this. Role-playing is a learnable skill. I don't even really like the word. You're acting. Pick your character. Be intelligent about picking your character. If you want to be a giant kobold like Kib, be a giant kobold like Kib. act like a giant kobold.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to be a tiny ogre, be a tiny ogre. Right? But act like an ogre. I use those examples because I haven't always had that opinion, right? I used to typecast people a little bit more heavily into what they look like is a better idea of what kind of monster they are. That's just fucking wrong. And I'm happy to say that, right? We grow. So, figure out what you want to play. The objective of characterization, all the way up at the top, right? Obviously, we have that consent bar, which is extremely important. We also have fun. Don't roleplay because you think you have to. You don't. This is a stick fighting game. There's no rules for roleplay. Roleplay because you want to. If you want to get better at it, improv. Improv is a super awesome tool for getting better at characterization. But ultimately, the objective is to have fun. So, voice, movement of your hands and just gesticulation, changing of your structure, your body and how you move, and then move. By the way, this applies if you're speaking for a job. Maybe don't do that, but all of these things that I'm talking about are really just really, really, really good communication skills turned into LARPing. Because why not? Right? Escapism mirrors life. Plague and I have been doing this for about half our lives now. It is undeniable that if Plague and I get in the same room, Plague and I are going to start acting monster, even if we're wearing suits.
So, one time,
Come here. Talk on camera.
So one time after a Mifter, I had a 2-hour-long conversation with someone. And then they said, "Where are you from?" I was like, "Oh, I've lived here for the past 8 years, but I'm originally from Arizona." And they were like, "But the accent, I thought you were from Eastern Europe." And I realized I was doing the monster voice for 2 hours without even realizing it at school.
So, now, the monster voice, lots of times it's just a really bad Russian accent. But it doesn't have to be. I really want mine to be a bad Italian accent, but I'm really bad at doing bad Italian accents because io sono italiano, so io posso parlare italiano. It's really, really hard for me to speak Italian accents, right? But you find what works for you. I really strongly suggest doing the voice, like full changing the voice last. Really hard to keep consistent. It's really hard to find the footprint that you want to put your voice into. It's hard to find, so give that time. However, it's really easy to change the pace, the cadence, and the tone of your voice. It's really easy to change how you speak. And by easy, none of this is easy. None of this is something that'll happen overnight. But by changing the way you modulate your voice, you change how you are seen as an individual. And as Chip is doing, being a Latin individual and Italian individual, I talk with my hands. But as a goblin, I always do this. Why? Because I want the ground. I want people to see. I want you to know how I feel. And all of that is characterization. That's all any of this is characterization. So I'm going to open the floor for questions. Thank you all for listening to my improv rambles. But I actually like this one. So, floor open for questions. Thank you, Jared. Shoot.
So, how would you suggest creating an atmosphere of consent for a larger amount of people instead of individually just going around and saying, "Hey, I'm doing this"?
Don't do shit that needs consent. If
There
I'm going
you
to change
go.
my voice and walk around and be silly, it doesn't matter. Not going to affect anybody.
don't touch anyone.
Yeah, don't touch anyone. Don't get into anyone's bubble. Like, look, come in. One of the things I do a lot with my friends is this. So I'll be like, I don't do that to people I don't know, right? I have also almost been swung on, and I fully accept that that is possible when I do something,
Yeah.
right?
If you don't know someone, limit it to improv banter. Like,
Hey man, you have smelly shoes.
like, me and Rec, something that we were doing at Mockfest is, well, it was me, Rec, and Squishy. We had these like little lights. One was red, one was green, one was blue, and we walk up to people that were walking to us in the dark, and then Rec would be like, "Red light," and then see if they stopped. And if they did, then Squishy would be like, "Green light,"
And they would go.
and then I would come out with the blue light just to see what they would do. Only one person responded to that one.
Woo!
They walked really, really slow. It was really funny. But Yeah, but, like that's that's a kind of thing that you can do with random people. Like they're either going to ignore you or play along. As long as they have a full ability to just ignore you, like without it being like super uncomfortable, like that's what you can do with strangers.
The way the game was many years ago is not the way the game is now. The way the game was many years ago was awesome in its own way, but it also was very problematic. And part of nice capture. And part of why I'm going to be doing more and more of this is I want to open the metaphorical gateways. Chip, I'm going to hit you so hard later. Open the metaphorical gateways to this so that people know that it's accessible. I don't want everybody to be a monster. At all. Please don't be. But man, if you want to be a dwarf, I want to teach you how to be a good, excellent dwarf. If you want to be a gnome, an elf, if you want to be a human, like I wish Action was here. Action Jackson role plays a human. He's determined to be a human. I want to support that. You know, we have things in Bellegarth that are not just monster roleplay, but understand where I'm coming from with all this. Like, Bellegarth Monsterdom is it's now a 30-year-old living history social experiment that has traveled the entire United States. Like,
And into Canada.
And abroad. You know, like, we have a responsibility to keeping it protected and growing it. And the best way to do that is to get more people involved and see how awesome it is. So, to answer your question, with consent, don't worry about creating a group of consent. Don't fucking do behavior that will make it so that you need to be concerned about that at all. Or only do that in an environment where you've already had the individual conversations with everybody. Like, if I'm going to do a trial that's going to involve pretending to cut open my hand and drink my own blood, I'm going to tell people around, hey, trigger warning, this is what's going to potentially happen. If you have a problem with that, don't be here. Right? Like, I'm not going to actually cut open my hand and drink my own blood, but it's going to look like it. If that's an issue for you, don't be here. But it's not... I'm not going to do that in the middle of a crowd. I'm not going to do that in the middle of the tournament field. I'm not going to do that in the middle of the field. I'm going to do that in the corner where people can avoid it, just like Plague said. If they can ignore it easily, no issue. Any other questions? Yes?
Current culture thing, is this mostly an on-the-field thing, or is it on-field and in-camp thing?
You're going to find that role play is predominantly off the field. There is no benefit to role playing on the field in terms of the written letter of the rule. There is no, in fact, I can go so far as to say it's oftentimes a disadvantage if you're heavily role playing on the field.
But it
And
looks so cool. The goblin slapping the ground and all
Yeah,
the silly rolls. That
So
is
you'll
the
see-
funnest thing to
you'll
watch.
See, in trials, if I'm fighting in the trial, oftentimes it'll come out. If I'm the trialer, you'll hear me say things like, Rage God! War Goblin! That actually hypes me up. That's an actual mantra that I use that
Sticks me in my
actually
full
gets me in the flow
Yeah.
state
I have-
and into the ability to fight.
I also have input.
Plagoo input.
So most units are focused more on the sports side of it. I am in the unit Court, which is specifically a role play unit. We have really good fighters, some of the best in the country are in our group, but we are a group of monsters. Like, we put the role play first. Some of us still keep the role play to off the field. Some of us do it on the field. If you are someone who wants to do role playing on the field, understand that the people who you're going to want to surround yourself with might be different than if you want to put being really good at the sport first. You don't have to choose between the two, but you may want to decide what kinds of people you want to surround yourself with being like-minded. We have both sides in the sport. It's just figuring out what you want to do both on and off the field.
And I'm gonna, while I agree with what Plague is saying, I want to preface something really heavily, which is roleplay does not have to take away from being a stick jock. I'm a stick jock. I'm a stick jock first and foremost. However, role playing for me is of the same caliber of importance. Actually, if not a little above stick jockness, I just started as a stick jock. like Horde is an extraordinary unit because you see both really talented fighter, the headhunters are some of the best fighters in the sport. Period. End of story. League of Legends. And then you have a lot of the people that just want to do the roleplay side of it. Some of the best role players in the game. It's a good example of that. And Plague's right about surrounding yourself with people that are doing the thing you want to focus on. I just really challenge the stereotype that role players aren't good fighters, because headhunters are perfect examples. Frankly, I'm a perfect example of why that's not true. Does that make sense though, in terms of field and off the field fighting? Predominantly it's going to be off the field. Chip.
Can I get 10-second head start?
Yes, you can get it. I'm not going to hit you now. You can 100% get a 10-second head start when we get on the field. Any questions here? No? Okay. Well, thank you, Plagoo, so much. Oh, Diamond, go ahead.
I assume the concept of consent, if you're role playing on the field, applies as well. If it's needed, I just want to make sure.
Do I need to answer that question?
I'm assuming it's yes.
The answer is of course. Yeah. Anything? Yes. Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody.